Hi guys, so today we're going to learn how to do more advanced things in Google Sheets. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up some of how this table looks. So notice when I look at my total cost column, some of the totals like point are 4.8, some down here 9. There's no decimal points. Some have 1 decimal point, some have 2. So we want to clean that up. So I'm going to select all of those, including my last one in my yellow column there. And notice over here on my toolbar, one of the things we have here is to look at the decimal points. I'm going to increase it, and then I'll bring it down one more time so that I want them all to be 2 decimal places, because that's how money works in the United States. So I want everything to be 2 decimal points. So if they were all different ones, if you just go increase, decrease, and then you should be good to go. We could do the same thing to our cost column, because again, some have 1 decimal point, some have 2, and we're going to add that. Another way we could do it is we could hit where it says format currency. We could just hit the $sign, and everything should have 2 decimal points and a $sign in front of it. So you could do either that or just change the decimal points. Up to you. So we could adjust our number formatting here. We could also do something called assorting. So notice I have 18 different things here. So I want them to be sorted alphabetically. So, and they're all kind of mixed up right now. So, but this is the problem. If I just select this, the A2 through 19, and I sort this, what's going to happen? So I'm going to go to data. I'm going to sort and sort by column A. And what's going to happen? It's going to sort it, but it didn't keep the cost per item and the quantity and the total cost for each of those items together, because I only selected from row A or column A. So I'm going to undo. There is an undo button here in case you make a mistake. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to select A2 all the way to D19, and that's called a range. So it's selecting everything in between there, and but I'm not selecting row 1 or 20, just everything in between. And then if I go to data, sort range, and I'm going to say sort by column A, it'll resort everything in alphabetical order, but it keeps the cost and the quantity and the total cost together the way that I originally added it. So that's a really cool thing to do, because that way everything's in order, and it's nice and neat then for you. Another thing I could do is I could make a chart out of this. So I'm going to do that right now. So I want to compare the individual costs. So that's column B of each of these items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with A1, so type of food, and I'm going to select over to B1 and all the way down to watermelon at $5.99. So once that range is selected, I'm going to go to this little icon on my toolbar here. It looks like it's towards the end. It looks like a little graph, and if I point to it, it says insert chart. I could also go to insert chart this way as well. So either way is fine. And when I do that, notice what's going to happen. It's going to give me this. But let's say it's giving me a pie chart. What if I don't want a pie chart? For this one, I want to actually change it. So I want to switch this to, let's say, a bar graph, a column graph. So I'm going to click this first one that looks like a blue and red columns. And when I do that, look at that. There's all my foods across the bottom, all the prices along the side. And I could see by looking at this which foods are least expensive and which foods are more expensive. Notice it puts it right on top of this table though. So what I could do instead is I could click this little guy right here, the 3 dots in the corner, and I'm going to say move to its own sheet. Okay, and what it does is it fills the whole screen. So notice down here it has these little tabs across the bottom. So sheet 1 is where my data is at, all my numbers and the names of stuff. Chart 1 is my column graph of everything. And notice if I point my mouse to things on this column, it's going to point out what each thing is. Now, once it's bigger like this, then I could do a few things. I could edit it. So over here where it says edit, I could adjust things. So if I do stuff like this, I really don't want to do that. Or I could say, hey, let's go customize this. And maybe I want to put a, like, I don't know, like make this 3D. There's a 3D option there. There's a maximize option to make it as big as your screen will make it. You could change your background color to this. I wouldn't make it too bright, but I can make it like a light yellow like that. You could change your font. I like simple fonts, so I'm going to choose Verdana for this. And notice it automatically changed my size of things. I could come over here to, and actually I'm going to keep 3D on because I kind of like the way 3D looks. If I go to my chart axis and titles, this has a drop-down box of many things. So I'm going to go to my chart title, and where it says cost, I'm going to say cost of food or grocery items. Let's say grocery items. And I'm going to make that bold maybe, and I could even change the color. So notice there's the font color there. I can make that whatever color I want. And then I could come over here to another one. So if I make horizontal axis, horizontal goes left and right. Those are like rows. That's this bottom right here where it says type of food. I can make that bold and maybe make that a little bigger if I want. I could do the same thing with my vertical axis. That's over here on the side. So that's the word cost right there. I'm going to make that bold and make that the same size. So that was what, 16. And then I could go to my series. Series is your actual items here. So if I, let's say I want to change the color of this, I could change the color of everything. I'm going to change them all blue. I like that color blue. Here's another thing you could do. If I click on one of these, I could change the color of just that item. And so I'm double clicking on it, and then I change the color. And then you could adjust stuff that way. If you want to leave them all the same color, that is fine too. Okay, so if I recolored all of mine, so if I go to my series now, and I scroll all the way to the bottom, if you recolored them, you might have to scroll a while. And then down, you'll see these little check boxes. What I usually do is data labels. That way I could see the exact price of each item. And that is really helpful when I'm creating a graph. So the next thing we're going to do is a little more complicated. So now that we have our first chart done, our nice column graph, we're going to go back to our sheet where all of our data is at. And notice I have this column here in column G having some totals of kind of subcategories of our food. And I have a category of food column here, column D, which kind of puts each of these foods into a specific category. So I need to go and find how many total fruits the amount we're going to buy that are fruits, vegetables, beverages, and so on. So that's going to take a little more work. So what we could do is we're going to first sort this. We're going to resort this by categories. So if I select where it says type of food, actually apples, all the way to 5.99 down here. And then I'm going to hit data sort, so a data sort range. And then I'm not going to sort right here. I'm going to do an advanced range sorting option. And I didn't select any header rows. Even though I have a header row, I didn't select it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by column D. So I'm going to switch that to column D and hit sort. And notice it sorted it by our category. So now I could come to each of these things here. So beverage and bread and dairy only had one thing each. So I could just fill those in myself. So I'm going to go in the beverage was 3.98, bread was 5.58, dairy was 5.99. But fruits, meats, snacks, and vegetables, they had more than one thing. So I'm going to show you a trick for this. So if I see all my fruit ones, and I'm going to select the total cost here for all my fruit ones, do you see down here in the bottom corner? It's automatically giving me a sum of that. So that's $28.65 for fruits. So $28.65, boom, done. I could also do the same thing for vegetables. I'm going to just select, get my 20, 21. And meats, there were two of them. And that one's $11.79. And snacks, that had 3 items, and those were $16.80. Okay, so that's how much I'm spending in each category. So let's say I wanted to make a pie chart of those totals. So what percentage of my total am I spending on beverages versus dairy? So I am going to come through, select just those items. So the cost per category and my totals for that category. And I'm going to hit the little graph icon again up here, or by hitting insert chart. And notice it gives me a nice little pie graph about the different categories of my groceries. Now notice there are some, if I go to customize here, there's some different things we could do. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the little 3 dots and say move to its own sheet. And if I edit now and go to customize, I could change some of my styles. I do like a 3D pie graph, and you could also come through here, like, do you want this under a pie chart? You could choose, like, do you want a label? Do you want to show, like over here, we have the percentage showing, percentage and value, like on here instead of out there, or we could just say none. This one's okay because it's like off to the side, so that would be under my total fruits. What distance? Let's see. Oh, that's how, if there's a cut piece. I don't think we need to do that. Let's just leave these all at 0. Let's see, if I go to my chart title, I could put a chart title in here. We'll say pie graph of categories of food. And make that bold, and maybe I'll change the color to like thread. And then my legend. And my legend are these little guys over here. So I could change this to make them bold. And notice it's automatically giving me a percentage on here. So that looks pretty good. Notice down here at the bottom left-hand corner of my this page, this is chart 3 because I deleted one before. But I could actually double click on here and rename it. So I'm going to call this one pie graph. And notice chart 1, that was my column graph. So I'm going to double click on that one and call it column graph. And then sheet 1 is my data. So if I want to, I could rename that one data. Okay. So that's why how you can navigate between your data. Now, let's say I'm going to come back to my data and I'm going to say my lemonade, the price went up and it's $4.99 per bottle now. That means I have to come over here and manually change the price of my beverages because that was not a formula. So I'm going to go and change that right now. So that's actually $9.98 for beverages. Okay, so I'm going to adjust that. And my bread was $5.50. Yeah, everything else looks good. Now, once I change a price here, if I go back to my pie graph here, I could see that the total beverages went up to 10% because it automatically adjusted the graph. So let's go back. So this is at 10.1% right now. If I change the price, so let's say I'm going to buy 4 of those, and that's $19.96 now. So I'm going to go and change it in here, $19.96, and come back to my pie graph. Oh, now it's at 18.3%. It's automatically going to adjust the graph based on the data from the data sheet. So that's one of the good things about these charts. Once you make it, if you adjust the data, it will adjust the chart. Okay. So that's some basics we covered today on how to sort. We talked about renaming these tabs across the bottom and creating charts. Hopefully you learned a lot. Make sure to turn this in on Google Classroom.